Today we're going to read about Captain-Underpants and the Big Bad Battle of the Bionic Booger Boy, Part 2. Hi everybody, and welcome to the second half of Captain-Underpants and the Big Bad Battle of the Bionic Booger Boy. This comic book should give you a pretty good update of our story so far. The sad truth about Captain-Underpants. Once upon a time, there were two cool kids named George and Harold. Were much groovy. Me too. But unfortunately, they had a mean principal named Mr. Croop. Blah, blah, blah. So one day, they hypnotized him with a 3D hypno ring.
You will obey our every demand. Yes, sirs.
Mr. Crab became under their control. You are now a monkey. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah. But they made a terrible mistake. You are now Captain Underpants. Okay. Ha 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 ha. Tra la 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 la. It was funny until he jumped out the window. Hey, come back here. No way. Mr. Crab really thought he was a real superhero. He got in all kinds of trouble. Oh no. One time he almost got killed by a dandelion. Help. So George stole some super power juice from a UFO and he gave it to him. Superpower juice. Gloop, gloop, gloop. And Mr. Crab got superpowers. Now he can fly and stuff. Here we go again. Now, whenever Mr. Crab hears somebody snap their fingers, blah, 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 he turns into Captain Underpants. Tra la la la. And whenever you gets water on his head, he turns back into Mr. Crab. Blah, blah, blah. So remember, don't snap your fingers around Mr. Crab. But that's only the first part of our story. Read on. Okay, well, there is this other kid in our school named Melvin Sneely. I'm a dumb nerd. Melvin invented a combino thingy that moves stuff together. First, he combined his pet hamster Sulu with a robot. Eureka! I have created the world's first bionic hamster. Next, he tried to combine himself with the robot. But he sneezed at the last second. Achoo! And he accidentally got combined with the robot. And his boogers, zap! He became the Bionic Booger Boy. I'm a dumb nerd. Oh. Then one time, he caught a cold. Achoo! Then he got mad and turned into a monster. Then he ate up Captain Underpants. But Sulu, the bionic hamster, beat him up. Then Melvin's parents came and reserved the combino thingy. They zapped him and blew away the boogers. Zap. Boom. Now Melvin and Mr. Crab were safe. But something was wrong with them. I'm a dumb nerd, blah, blah, blah. The boogers came to life and smashed the combino thingy. And the chase was on. The end. Chapter 1. George and Harold. This is George Bear and Harold Hutchins. George is the kid on the left with the tie and the flat top. Harold is the one on the right with the t-shirt and the bad haircut. Remember that now. National Fine Arts Academy. This is Mr. Crab, Melvin, Snilly, and Sulu the bionic hamster. Mr. Crab is the one on the left with the underwear and the bald head. Melvin is the one on the right with the bow tie and the glasses. And Sulu the bionic hamster is the hamstery looking one in the middle with the laser eyeballs. The macro hydraulic jump atronic legs, the super sumbobulating mini auto arms, the virtually indestructible flexogromonic endoskeleton, and the twin turbo 3000 SP5 Kung Fu titanium lithium alloy processor. Remember that now too. And these are the ridiculous robo-boogers. 3 of the vilest, most disgusting, and most terrifying creatures ever to drip across the face of the earth. Even their names were horrible. Monster monikers, the sound of which will drive madness into the hearts of the bravest heroes. If you dare to know their nightmarishly deplorable names, I will tell you. But don't blame me if you have to sleep with a nightlight on for the rest of your life. Their names were from left to right: Carl, Trissy, and Frankenbooker. See, I told you they were scary names. Carl, Trissy, and Frankenbooker each bellow out terrifying, ear-piercing screams of unstoppable fury as they chase our heroes down the city streets. Finally, the robo-boogers corner everyone in a dead-end alley. The 3 Flemish fiends ooze closer and closer, until at last they leaped toward their prey. The situation has become so frightening that George, Harold, Melvin, and Mr. Crab closed their eyes tightly and waited for the terrifying sounds of their own inevitable demise. Globble, globble, globble. But instead of hearing inevitable Dempsey type sounds, our heroes heard something quite different. You see, at the very last second, Sulu the bionic hamster stretched open his flexogromonic jaw and shoved 3 boogery behemoths into his mouth. Sulu bionic cheeks swelled to capacity and he raised his furry head towards the sky. Then, with the force of the lunar shuttle liftoff, Sulu shot the 3 slimy villains into space. Spitooty, spitooty, spitooty. The 3 ridiculous robo-boogers sailed through the sky like cannonballs. In no time at all, they left Earth's atmospheres and began sailing toward Uranus. The terrifying battle was over. Wow, that was a really quick story, said Harold. This is going to be our shortest adventure ever. Ain't that the truth, said George. Chapter 2. It ain't. And fortunately for George and Harold, their adventure had only just begun. As everyone walked back to school, a confusing argument got underway. I want my hamster back, said Mr. Crab. Your hamster, said George. First of all, he's our hamster now, and second of all, he never belonged to you. He belonged to Melvin. I don't care who he belongs to, Melvin interrupted. Hamsters aren't allowed in school, especially not in my school. I'm giving all 3 of you bubs a detention for bringing the furry beast into your classroom. You can't give us a detention, said Harold. You're just a kid like us. Suddenly, Mr. and Mrs. Sneely came running toward them. Melvin, you're all right, cried Mrs. Sneely. We're so happy you're safe, son, cried Mr. Sneely. Mommy, Papa, cried Mr. Crab. He dashed over to Melvin's parents with open arms. The sight of a bald grown man in his underwear running toward them made Mrs. Steely scream in horror. Ah! Hey, what's the big deal? Yelled Mr. Sneely. It's me, Papa, cried Mr. Crab. Don't you recognize your own son? Get away from us, you weirdo, Mrs. Sneely yelled as she hit Mr. Crab with her purse. Melvin ignored the commotion as he walked past them all and went into the school. Melvin stormed upstairs and headed for the school office. Everyone except Miss Anthrop had already gone for the day, and she was getting ready to leave too. Just where do you think you're going? Shouted Melvin. Miss Anthrop turned and stared in shock at the full grader standing behind her. What did you just say? She cried in a voice that was rapidly becoming a scream. Who do you think you are? I'm the guy who's gonna fire your hiney if you don't get me my coffee now, yelled Melvin. Normally, school secretaries don't have the authority to hang a child from a coat hook by his underwear, but today had been a particularly stressful day for Miss Anthrop. She had been covered in snot, carried through town by a rampaging robotic monster, and worst of all, forced to chaperone an elementary school field trip. Now it was payback time.